Okay, greetings, well-beings. Coach Joe here with AllSteps.dance, bringing that everyday wellness to everyday people through the power of social dancing. And today we have the amazing Jasmine Salas, who has been my friend for years.
Yep.
And we met on the Latin social scene in Sydney, Australia. Jasmine, how did your dance journey begin?
I have been dancing since I was 2 years old.
Whoa.
I started with your usual. So when your mum is throwing you into dancing, you start with ballet, tap, jazz. And I did that all the way up until I graduated high school. I did a bit of pole dancing and all that kind of stuff. And then I moved into the city, and that's when I started Latin.
Okay. And did you have a passion for dance when you were little, or is that something that came from outside?
I think my passion came from, it came from doing it, honestly. Like, I love music, and I think my mum saw me just dancing to Shakira when I was younger.
Okay.
And was like, okay, we need to put her in dance. And honestly, I think I just love expressing myself that way. I think that's honestly how it came.
Because one of the observations I would make of you, because you're not the only person I know with structured dance education. I don't have that, but Jasmine definitely does. And I meet a lot of, when you dance socially, you meet a lot of people who have that in their lives. But for me, from my perspective, my lay point perspective, I feel the difference in between someone who's really passionate about it and really loves it versus they're fulfilling some technical expectation or they're doing what they think is the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the reasons why I love dancing with you and I think you're so much fun to be around is that I really feel that passion for dancing coming from the inside out.
That's good.
And that's why I'm asking that question. Like, was it just a dance mom that wanted the trophy and made her daughter dance? Or was it that it really came from you? And by the sound of it, that it came from the inside out.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I was someone who, honestly, anytime music came on, I would be dancing. I was not afraid when I was younger. And even as I'm older, like in the club, I'm just like, I need to get down to this. Like, it's something that comes from within. And I think you see that, like if I'm on stage or if I'm performing, like you can see that shine.
That's right. That's right. Because I think there is a difference in between someone being performance trained, which you are.
Yes.
But then there's another piece, which is that passion and that heart that comes from the inside out. Now, I don't know if Jasmine is across this, but in AllSteps, there are 3 key parts. One is the solo dancing, one is the social dancing, or the second one is the social dancing, and the third thing is the parties and the community and connecting to other people. And this is getting a little bit heavy, but it's coming up, so we're just going to get into it. What I sometimes see in the social dance scene as it exists at the moment is people that are learning to social dance and they're learning the patterns and the steps and how to dance with a partner, but they haven't learned that solo dance ability. They haven't got that capacity to just love the music and dance on their own as they are, which, I grew up with that. I grew up with that rave culture and that celebration of creativity and doing it the way that you want to do it. And you've got that too.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you agree with what I said, or do you think that that's inaccurate, the point that I made about the social dancing scene and not everybody being able to have that solo dance capacity?
Yeah, I think I do agree. I do think it comes down to confidence, self-confidence as well. Like, I think you can either be trained when you were little, like I am, and I grew up dancing either in a team or by myself. And for me, partner dancing was something completely new. Now, when my partner steps away and we have like our solo time, that's when I'm like, yes, like I can give my little like jazz, like I can give my little oomph into this. But for people who have started social dancing, when they start social dancing together, I think comfort lies in that. And it takes a while for individuals to be able to, one, get comfortable dancing with the steps, get comfortable dancing together, and then once they're comfortable dancing together, when you're then separated, I think that is another point of confidence, that you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm by myself. Okay, what do I do? Like someone's watching me, like we're dancing together, but we're still like watching each other. And I think it comes down to confidence for that one. And yeah, I guess like being trained and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Because
does
I
that make
mean,
sense?
no, I really follow what you're saying. I think it's a really valuable point, and the confidence is a big factor. I mean, the problem is with that is like, how do you address that? Like,
Yeah.
if someone doesn't have that confidence, and I mean, what I observe when I'm out dancing is sometimes I'll be dancing with someone who's got, as far as I can tell, incredible social dance skill. Like they just move so beautifully. But then I'll create, as a leader in a dance, I'll create some space for us to separate and dance separately. And sometimes, like, it's like I see this look of horror on their face of like, oh my God, don't leave me.
Yeah.
Like I can't do this on my own. Like we have to stay connected. And one of the things that we're really going to focus on in the AllSteps is giving people the tools so that they can dance by themselves and thrive in that capacity. And I really understand that the social dancing, as you said, it gives, I don't remember what word you used,
Comfort.
but it gives comfort. That's right. When you've got someone else there dancing with you, it gives comfort. But I think that when you are able to separate and dance apart, but still share the song, share the moves, and have that interaction, for me, that's another level above.
Yeah, I think when you're able to share your individuality and then come together, I think, yeah, adds another level of fun and enjoyment and excitement. Like, that's how I see it, at least.
Now, I'm really putting Jasmine on the spot with this one, and we didn't prepare this question, but I'm just going to see what she comes out with.
Okay.
So someone's out on the social scene, they're dancing, they're enjoying it, they've learned some basic partner steps, and they want to build that capacity to split apart. In the Latin dance culture, they call it shines. In AllSteps, I don't know what we call it, parted dancing or something. Anyway, we'll come up with a fancy word to describe what it is. But what advice would you give to somebody who at this point does not have that confidence and wants to get into that place of being able to dance with their partner? You're standing in front of each other, but there's no leading as such.
I recommend, whenever you have some alone time, or if you want to, I recommend getting in front of a mirror, putting some music on. It doesn't have to be Latin, it can be anything. And just dance. Just do whatever comes out. It doesn't have to be the steps. Like, I think when you're doing your shines, I think that it's just a point for interpretation. Like, yeah, you can be on time, you can do the right steps, whatever it may be, but that's your point to just do whatever the hell you want. So I think just building that confidence, because you can do it step by step. Like at the end, you can be on time, you can do the correct moves or whatever it may be, but like just to build that confidence, just do whatever the hell you want. And the way you start is by just practicing at home when you're alone, because you'll slowly build that confidence up.
You know, one of the things we're really interested in at AllSteps is making dance part of living well, making it a well-being practice. And correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're talking about is making a little bit of dance part of your lifestyle.
Yep, exactly.
How often do you reckon you have time like that alone, where you just vibe, where you just dance yourself and you just, is it once a day? Is it once a week?
I'd probably say it's like For me, it's probably once a week. For me, I do it whenever I'm overwhelmed or I need to
Okay.
get emotion out.
Wow, so it's a coping strategy for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. That's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, look, what I do, sometimes, like, if I've got to do a bunch of housework or something, which, like, I mean, to be honest, I'm quite domesticated. I like doing a bit of housework, but very often I'll put some headphones in and I'll kind of be dancing and playing with the movement while I'm doing the dancing. In the past, I have had times where I've really set time aside and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a proper dance now. I mean, what does that look like for you? Do you have time where, is that what you do? You're like, okay, it's 5 p.m. on a Friday. I just need to let it go. Here's my headphones, here's my playlist, and I'm going to dance for an hour, or what does that look like?
I think it looks like I don't set time aside. Like, I don't go, okay, I'm going to do this at this time. If I'm like, I don't know, say I've just gotten back from work and I'm like, oh my God, I just feel blah. I am going to be like, okay, headphones on. I'm going to groove. I'm going to feel whatever it needs to be felt, whatever needs to be felt. In saying that, if I'm at the gym or something like that, or cooking dinner, or if I'm with my partner or whatever it may be, and some groove, like some vibes come on and I can hear it, even in like Woolies or Coles. Like, if I just hear anything and I'm like, oh my God, I love this song. I'm like, I'm moving my hips, moving my hips, moving my shoulders, giving a little vibe. At the gym, I feel a bit more like awkward.
And Jasmine really does that. So even if you're in like a supermarket with her or something, and something comes on that she's into, she'll move her body. I didn't know if you were even aware that you were doing that. But just a little thought that I had as you were saying that. I wonder, for those people that find it very difficult to dance solo in a party environment, maybe for them, part of the challenge is that they don't want to show emotionally where they're at. They don't want to expose how they're really feeling.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what I know about, most people in social dance scene, if they're going to classes, their whole warm-up is shines. And that's every style. You'd go to a salsa class, bachata class, whatever. They might do 15, 20 minutes of moves. And they're in that group, hitting that choreography. They're in the mirror, and they're hitting every step.
Yeah, like
So it's not a technical thing. It's not that they don't know the moves. It's that in that moment, they're in that social dance, they're in that party, and it's time to express how you're feeling, show who you really are. And there's a constriction there, there's a boundary there. Do you have a take on that?
Yeah, I think.
And listen, disagree with me. Like, if you don't think I'm right, don't just sit there and be like, yeah, Joe, you're so right. Like, if you've got another angle, like, correct me,
Yeah, I think again, I still think it comes down to confidence. You are completely right. Like, at the beginning of most classes, any class you do, doesn't even have to be Latin. You will start with like a solo warm-up, you'll start with drills, and you'll start with steps in Latin, and it's all solo. So yes, I actually didn't even think of that. You do know your solo stuff, you know all your solo basics. I do think that when you're in a situation where your partner has allowed space for you individually, that it's like a oh shit type of moment, and everything just blanks. Everything can just blank. I have been in that multiple times where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing right now, and I know how to dance.
Okay.
And I think with that, I think it's pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I think if you're someone that experiences that a bit, then you need to put yourself in that situation more often. I think that's the only way you can.
I hear you. I want to add just a little piece to that, though. One little tiny little piece I think is really useful, and I've seen a video on this recently, and I'll try and pull it out and add to the social media somehow. But if something is too difficult, you're just not taking small enough steps. So if you're in a situation, you're like, wow, like this is too, like, let's say we're talking about dance, and you're very confronted or it's very difficult, it's just because the step that you think that you need to take, the step that you've set for yourself is too big.
Okay.
And you just have to make that step smaller.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you should do that. I just know, let's say, for example, like I learned a lot of salsa, a lot of that 3-step salsa. And then bachata, the 4-step bachata became very popular and everyone was doing these sensual flowing movements. And I just found that extremely difficult. But the way that I negotiated that is that I did a lot of privates. I spent a lot of time practicing with my friends, including Jasmine. I learned a lot of my sensual dancing, practicing with Jasmine. But I just kept bringing it back to the simplest versions of that I could handle and kept building it up. So with the AllSteps, we are working on giving people tools and resources so they can do their solo dancing. But I think, just realizing even somebody with a huge amount of practical experience, that there's still challenges there, and finding strategies to negotiate that, I think, will be really important. Now, you did all your dance training. Why did you start partner dancing? Where'd that come from? Because I meet a lot of people, a lot of people who do contemporary dance, jazz, ballet, whatever, and they find it very difficult to connect to another partner and share that space. Like, why did that happen?
Well, I first found the dance. So I'm from the Blue Mountains, and
Blue Mountains in Sydney, Australia. It's very rural.
Yeah.
Very rural. Yeah, it's not an urban environment at all.
No.
Yeah.
And we don't have much of a Latin scene out there. And I was working in like a bar, and the head chef, he was Chilean and he danced salsa, and he brought me one night to the Argyle for my birthday, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we went as a group, and he was just like, you should try this. Anyway, fast forward like 2 years later, I moved out into the city. I moved out into Rose Bay, and I moved out with my best friend, and that's the only person I knew. And I honestly just needed to make some friends. So I went to the Argyle, not knowing it was still on, just going for it, going, well, if it's there, it's there, and if it's not, it's not. Walked on in, and I went every Wednesday for months. And that's how I made friends. I was just dancing with people, connected with people, and that's how I started the Latin scene. In saying that, on to the next part of the question, is I found it really hard to let myself be led by someone. I really had to calm myself and focus. I needed to focus to be led. I know that sounds really like weird, but coming from like dancing individually, you know exactly what you're doing. You have everything choreographed, all your freestyling. And so letting someone else like determine what you're doing at every point of the song is like unknown. And so, yeah, I really had to focus and like calm myself, like close my eyes and let my body go, okay, what's coming next? Okay, this is coming next. And yeah, that took a long time for me to learn, like a long time.
Yeah. And so that's where I met Jasmine. And big shout to Team Latin Central, who are still going. So they're not at the Argyle anymore. They're actually, in my opinion, at a better venue at Darling Harbour. And all their work is very much appreciated. I met Jasmine at their previous venue, which was the Argyle, which is a very popular, well-known, successful event. And tell me, how did it go making friends through the social dance scene? How did that go?
It was interesting. I was like 20 at the time, and I was like, this is crazy. There's a lot of older people. Which like no judgment, nothing like that, because these people actually came really close to me.
And just to clarify, how old are you?
I'm 22 now.
22 now. I'm 45 this year. So there's over 20 years in between us. You know what I mean? So go on.
And yeah, I think people started seeing my face. They were like, "Oh, you come here like every week now," and I'm like,
You were coming every week.
Yeah. And eventually that led to people going. People obviously didn't know I knew bachata, and I wasn't going to classes either. They actually, like Team Latin Central at the time, they did classes before, and then they just social afterwards. I didn't even go to the classes before. I was just going. I'd go up to someone and I'd be like, someone would ask me to dance, and I'd be like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and they would be like, I'll show you. And that's how I started. And I think through that, people would be like, oh, like, do you want to practice afterward? Like, do you want to practice? Like, we can meet up at this time. We can meet up before. We were doing that. I learned salsa off you mainly.
That's true. Hey, if you see this woman do salsa,
Yeah. And I think it slowly, very slowly, those practices led to friendship. And and then I was invited to more socials through people. It took me a long time to meet girls in the scene. It took me a very long time. But yeah, through that, I was invited to more socials. People let me know of more socials. I would turn up to those every week. Paco at Bondi.
Yeah.
So
big love to Paco at Bondi. We love you. So listen, do you think it's fair to say that you made yourself actually a really nice little social group in Sydney as a result of social dancing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Hey, little aside, tell us about, remember you had that birthday party and the weather, you didn't know if the weather was going to be good or not. Tell me about that birthday party real quick.
Yeah, I had no idea if the weather was going to be okay.
You were having, it was your birthday, you were going to have a birthday party.
Yes, yeah. And
the weather was supposed to be really bad.
It was.
What happened?
It was supposed to be really bad. I had invited like a few school friends. I invited my roommate, and I invited a few dance friends.
Yeah.
And it was meant to be awful. It was at Milk Beach, and it actually ended up being a lovely sunny day.
How many of those people were people that you knew from the Latin social dance scene?
I think I invited 12 people, and half were from the Latin scene.
Yeah.
And they're all my closest friends.
Yeah. I just really want to drive home that point that if you're out there feeling like you want to connect to people and have a sense of community, social dancing is one of the most incredible ways that you can do that. Jasmine made an interesting point, which is that bizarrely, you tend to know people of the opposite gender because that's who you're dancing with. But I mean, I can't think of what other environment could you achieve that? You're not going to get that if you play sport or, you as a man, you go out and you know all of these women, hundreds of women. As a woman, you go out, you know all of these different guys. And sometimes there's a romantic compartment, but a lot of it's just platonic and really good friendships. And I love Jasmine. I think she's great. I appreciate her energy so much. Now, listen, you were out on the social scene. We were practicing, we were hanging out, and then I started talking about AllSteps. And I could be wrong about this, but I believe that the very first time that I got a little group together to do AllSteps was yourself, our much loved friend Zane, and my much loved friend Anna. And we went to the Observatory Hill in Sydney, and we had a little dance together, and we did AllSteps. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, yep.
And there are videos of that somewhere.
There is.
Now, look, AllSteps is my baby. And, I put a lot of work into that. Can you give me some words about how you've watched its development, what you think about it? And, give me that honest appraisal. Like, I really want to hear, because you've been so close to me all the way through that process. I really want to understand what has that looked like for you and how do you feel about it now?
Well, I've watched it come from an idea to actual execution. And honestly, I am someone that loves pop music, loves reggaeton, loves every type of music. And for me, in the Latin scene, I get sick of Latin music.
Oh, wow.
And some people go, what? I get sick of it after a social or especially after a festival. Like when you're driving home, people are like, yes, like let's listen to Latin. And I'm like, I don't want to actually. And
Can I just interrupt your flow there?
Of course.
Just because, there's a lot of amazing Latin music out there. I think what is missing for me, and probably what is missing for you, is that because we didn't grow up with that music,
exactly.
it doesn't have the same resonance with us.
Yeah.
We can dance to it, we enjoy it. You can even speak Spanish, right?
Oh, not really. I can understand a lot of it, but
Okay.
not in music.
So I can't speak Spanish. I've tried. I can speak a tiny bit of Spanish, but not to the degree where I can understand the lyrics of the song. Jasmine's further along the line than I am. But there's part of the reason why I push the AllSteps forward is because there's a different feeling when you hear a song that you've grown up with. If the Justin Bieber comes on, or the Michael Jackson, or the Rihanna, or whatever, it's a different feeling. It's a different experience when you dance to it. So we love that Latin music, but we're interested in creating an alternative option for people who have a different musical heritage. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially understanding a language like in music is completely different. It brings a completely different emotion out of it. And so I think for me, that is pop, that is obviously English music. And I just like having that different outlet. I like being able to dance a style that I love to a Rihanna song who I love. And
Jasmine loves her Rihanna.
yeah.
You can see certain people, when I play the AllSteps music, certain people, they light up to certain music. A lot of people love Rihanna music, but Jasmine in particular, yeah. And, to me, why that's interesting is, let's say, I'm doing these events, I'm putting on these parties and whatnot. And when I'm DJing, I'm putting on a certain song, and then I'm watching and I'm seeing certain people like excited to dance to a song. And they're running and I'll tell you, you're not going to get this from the interview, but Jasmine in general is quite a chilled person.
Yeah.
She's quite a chilled, laid back person, especially when she's at socials, like she'll just kind of hang back. But certain songs come on and I can see her eyes light up. Her eyes light up and she's looking around. She's like, I need someone to lead this.
Yep.
Someone's got to lead this track for me. And that, for me, that's special. Like creating an environment where, people are getting excited about the music. That's very special. So look, AllSteps is, we're bringing it together step by step. What do you think it needs to do next? Where do you think it needs to go next? That's a hard question.
That is a hard question.
What do you want it to do?
I want it to become a community, like a bigger community than it currently is. I think classes would be a big benefit in that. So people can understand it better. I think it'd be great for people who are not in the Latin community to try out. I think it's a lot of people, I find my friends or just people that I'm associated with will be like, oh my God, like I wish I could dance like you, and this is not hyping myself up at all. Or like, I just want to be able to like move and like not in an awkward way. And I think it's a perfect way to learn that because it's not Latin. You're not learning Latin. Like you're learning steps, you're learning basic steps, and you're learning it to music that you love. So you can go into any environment, the club, you can go into, I don't know, a wedding, anything, and be able to just dance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear you. And listen, we're hustling, we're working on it step by step. We're going to keep pushing forward with it. Keep watching this space. And if you see an event, an AllSteps event, come along if you're in Sydney, Australia. If you are online, maybe you're not based in Australia, but you're interested in getting involved, just send us a message, comment one of the videos or send us a message. There's a website, allsteps.dance. You can email us via there. Hit us up. We want to grow this community. We want to make it a thing. Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Any last words? No, we're good.
Have a good day.
Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye for now.